Welcome to Harley Street Beauty, the show that gives you all the advice you need to look and feel great. Here's what's coming up on today's show. Advice on nose jobs with Professor James Frame.
And really it's quite a dangerous nose to operate on because the whole thing can actually collapse on you as you're operating.
We head over to the Only Way is Essex territory to talk body treatments.
I look scary like space age.
We visit Aviva Cosmetic Dentistry to see a veneers procedure completed in just one day.
It looks like I was born with them.
Surgery to reshape the nose is called rhinoplasty and is a very common plastic surgery procedure. In the last year, there have been a 7% rise in this operation. So, would it be on your wedding wish list?
I hate my nose. I've never had it done. Like, I hate it, but it doesn't affect me in any way. I don't think any less of them. I don't think any more of them, to be fair.
I will change my nose a little bit.
If they feel better with themselves, then it's okay. I totally understand it.
We headed over to Harley Street Plastic Surgery to get the lowdown on nose jobs.
So this is sort of an external rhinoplasty, meaning we're tidying up the shape and the form. But the main risk to rhinoplasty involve bleeding in the first instance, infection, which is pretty rare, I have to say. And this particular patient has got a bent septum. So the septum is a midline structure in the nose which normally allows a passage of air either side of it. But when somebody's had trauma or an injury, what happens is the septum bends, so one side occludes the airway on one side of the nostril. And that usually means they can't breathe. If they're a sportsman, they have a lot of trouble breathing, they have to mouth breathe, they nearly always snore badly, and basically can be quite uncomfortable. Yeah, this guy's got a very, very, very difficult nose. So what we're doing today is to take away part of the septum, to free it all up, and because this chap has actually had a couple of serious injuries over his lifetime, meaning he's broken his nose on frequent occasions, we've got to try and centralise the nose, trim up and centralise the remaining part of the septum, and then use some of the cartilage that we're taking out of the septum to use as a graft to fill in some hollow that he's got on one side. This is collapsing in, he can't breathe through his left nostril at all. This side's alright, but that side's a complete block. And you can see that, you can't see it with your camera, but up there, there's no hole. We're going to give him something which is still rugged, but not pretty. He doesn't want a pretty boy look. He wants to look as though he's a rugby player. The young lad that we've just operated on had a very, very grossly deviated septum. And really it's quite a dangerous nose to operate on because the whole thing can actually collapse on you as you're operating. So what we've done is basically start from a foundation and try and centralise the foundation. You've got to break the bones, and there's different ways of doing it. You either do it with saws or you do it with a hammer and chisel, basically. When you start to get these coarser bones, you really have to hammer them quite hard. Eventually they'll give way, but it does look a wee bit sort of brutal as you're doing it. This bone is really thick and strong, so the septum now should be a lot straighter. Just make sure we can get down there. Should be able to get down both sides quite easily. Right, that's down his nose, right? And that's down his nose. And because he couldn't breathe, it looks as though he'd lost quite a bit of that bone from his previous injuries. So we've replaced that, and we borrowed a bit of cartilage from his ear, equivalent to a garlic brush. It's going to make a big noise, right? Let's see what it does first. Not much, right? So I can be quite brutal with this one. Something like that. Now suddenly much more malleable. Okay, you see it bending? Whereas before it was rigid, wasn't it? And that's now saddling across, like a saddle on a horse. It's saddling across the bridge of his nose, and it's serving two purposes. One is the cosmetic side looks tremendous, but more importantly, we now have a wing, and that's actually important, so you can now hold his nasal airway open on that left side, so he can actually breathe. He'll have a plaster on his nose and packs up his nose. Packs up his nose, come out tomorrow. And then the plaster on his nose will be there for about 2 weeks. His nose he'll have a bit of trouble breathing through his nose to start with, but as the swelling goes down, he'll pick up and improve. And over that time, you mustn't be bending over or straining. You just got to wait for everything to heal up. And then after 2 weeks with the plasters off, he's got to be very careful. He's vulnerable to being knocked about for another 3 or 4 weeks. And thereafter he can do what he likes. So he'll be 6 to 8 weeks before he's playing any form of sport again. And that's assuming everything goes well and the bones heal nicely.
When people think of veneers, they often think of having a complete set of new teeth, top and bottom. But what if you only needed 1 or 2 veneers? We visited leading dental clinic Aviva Cosmetic Dentistry to find out what the procedure entails.
So within Aviva Cosmetic Dentistry, we have the ability to create veneers, crowns, back porcelain fillings in one visit. And my main passion really is using it for anterior teeth, for front teeth, for smile teeth. And it allows me to do a smile in a day. So I can have a patient in the morning, and by the end of the day, they will have a beautiful smile. Hi Natalie, Julian Kaplan, pleased to meet you.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
So you've come to see me today because you're thinking about getting these 2 side teeth sorted out.
These 2 teeth are slightly smaller than the rest.
Yeah.
And aesthetically, I wasn't very happy with it. So I went to the dentist and they put some white filler on my teeth.
Yeah.
But they were only meant to be very temporary.
I mean, if you have a look at what you've got here, you've got some bonding, we would call it, just this white filling material stuck on your teeth, and it's starting to go around the edges go. You've been there for 6 years, it's done quite well.
Yeah.
We can see actually the underlying tooth here, how small it really is. The ideal treatment for you is to have some sort of new bonding, which would last a period of time, or really some good porcelain veneers. But the other thing we're going to do for you is also lengthen the gum line. Your gum line has a good position here, but on the other side it's quite low. So we're going to do a small little bit of lasering around the gum line here. And the process involves basically using a special camera which shines blue light onto the tooth, and that blue light is reflected back into the camera, and that produces a 3D image on a computer screen. And this will then allow me to design the veneer or the crown or whatever I've decided to design on the tooth to give that tooth its correct shape. The process then goes on to a milling stage. Once I've designed it, I choose a colour for the patient's teeth, which are often have multiple colours in that porcelain block, and this porcelain block is put into a milling machine. It's got a wireless connection between this acquisition unit and the milling machine, and we put a block in there, it mills it out of the block, and then produces this amazingly beautiful veneer or crown.
We'll find out how Natalie's veneers turned out a bit later in the show. It's time for our home beauty part of the show now, where we tell you how to get celebrity chic right from the comfort of your own home with the help of our in-house team. Jules Cardozo-Marsh is a leading makeup artist. Her clients include Hello Magazine and international fashion brands like Guess and Puma. This week, Jules shows us how to put on a 5-minute face. Brilliant if you're a woman on the go or a mum pushed for time. Hopefully she can turn me into a yummy mummy.
I've already moisturised Naomi's skin. As soon as you come out of the shower, put your moisturiser on, that way you'll save time because it'll be soaking in. One of my favourite products at the moment is by Terry. It's called Peace and Glow. It's really good for around the eyes, especially for busy mums that are tired. Just literally a couple of dabs, use circular motions under the eye, and it gives you a really nice drainage. You can use it on the rest of the face, and it gives a nice glow. It gets all the blood pumping. It gives you a wide awake look, so great for in the morning.
Oh, that feels really nice on my skin.
With foundation, you only need to apply it where you need it. Everybody seems to think that you have to apply it on the whole face. You don't. So just stick to the T-zone area, underneath the eyes and the chin. With foundation, it's important to get the right shade for you. Busy mums on the go, tinted moisturiser is fine, but always use an SPF. Just put the foundation where you need it. So literally the T-zone area, the chin and underneath the eyes, that's fine. One of the questions that I get asked most is about foundation, choosing the right shade. It's important to try it on the jawline. So literally, if it's the right foundation, blend it in If it disappears, it's the right colour for you. If it blends in, it's the right colour for you. If you can still see it, it's not. It's too dark or too light. Let's get into the nose area. So literally, just make sure it's all rubbed in. And just the chin. Also important to just put a little bit on your lids, especially if you're applying eyeshadow, because what happens, naturally our eyelids are greasy. So if you just prep it and put a little bit of loose powder on, it will hold your shadow all day. If you want to apply a little bit of loose powder, you can. Just across the T-zone, just where it might get oily throughout the day. So just a little bit of dusting is all it needs. Remember, you've only got 5 minutes, so it has to be quick. Eyelash curlers, fantastic. If you don't have time for anything else in the morning, literally just curl your eyelashes. Look down for me. If you just literally pull the lid up, put the eyelash curlers in and just give a few quick squeezes. It instantly opens the eye area up and makes you look wide awake. When we come to blusher, you just want to apply it to the apples of the cheeks. So with your blusher brush, just dab a little bit on, shake it off, and if I get Naomi to do a little cheesy grin for me to show me her apples, just literally dust it on. One of the most important areas that always gets neglected is the eyebrows. Just literally comb them. Mascara, everybody needs mascara. So, best way to do it is for Naomi to look down for me, and literally, it's like a sawing mechanism to get right into the roots. So literally, hold your brush and do little zigzag movements. All you need for lips is just literally a very natural lipstick. Just dab it on. Just apply a little bit more blusher. Just check that everything's well blended in. And there you have my 5 minutes no nonsense makeup, and Naomi is good to go.
We're going for a short break, but join us in a few moments. Welcome back to Harley Street Beauty, the show that helps you look and feel amazing. Coming up on Harley Street Beauty, we head over to the Only Way is Essex territory to talk body treatments.
Those hard to reach areas. For that, it's excellent.
We visit Viva Cosmetic Dentistry to see a veneers procedure completed in just one day.
Fit of them are exquisite. They fit perfectly.
Most brides planning their weddings are usually looking to drop a dress size and get in the perfect shape. Cavitation is a treatment used to contour, reshape and firm your body from areas where diet and exercise alone have not been able to do so. We headed to Magic Touch in Chingford to find out more. I've come to the heart of the Only Way is Essex territory in Chingford, Essex here, to a salon called Magic Touch to find a little bit out about anti-aging and skin tightening techniques that they use here in Essex. So let's go in and see what it's all about. I'm actually joined by Turkish actress and singer Ozzy, who's come all the way over from New York to get her treatments here in North London. So I'm going to talk to her about having this cavitation and what she really thinks. So you come all the way over from New York to have your treatments here?
I've heard so much about it, you know, this new treatment, and you know how it is. I'm pretty fit and healthy. I don't have too much fat going on, but we all, as women, have that tiny little bulge that no matter how much you work out, you just can't get rid of.
Exactly. So you're here today to have the body cavitation?
Yes. This is my first time and I've heard so many good stories about it, so I'm here to try it out.
I'm jealous. I want to try it. Let's go over to your treatment, see how you find it, and we'll find out shortly if she likes it.
This is a magic cabin. We send an ultrasonic sound waves to breaking the fat, tighten the skin and rejuvenating the skin. It gives the infrared light to warm up all the tissues and the cells there. And we go the current to her body where the weak muscles wakes up and they start working more.
There's two machines. The first one kind of looks like a big MRI machine. It kind of looks scary, like space age. You lie down in it for half an hour and they put all these like pulse things all over your body, on your fat areas.
After this treatment, they can see the results straight away.
So what do you think of the treatment then?
I feel fresh, I don't know, like I still feel I definitely feel a bit tighter, and I feel the pulsing still a little bit on my legs especially. Not as much as on my stomach, but on my legs especially, I still feel a little bit of a pulse. Ladies like us, for example, on the backs of our legs, you know, no matter how skinny we can be, we'll still have that little bit of a jiggle on the backs of your legs. And I think those areas to be targeted to tighten, those hard to reach areas, for that it's excellent.
It is going to have some sort of difference on your figure because it's going to be moving and stimulating the fat. But yeah, so you were happy with it?
Definitely happy, and I definitely do feel a little bit tighter, and I can't wait to come back.
Great, thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Earlier in the show, we visited Aviva Cosmetic Dentistry to learn more about veneers. In just a few hours, Dr. Julian Kaplan was able to create a perfect pair of veneers for our patient Natalie. Let's find out if Natalie gets that smile she's been wanting for years.
Once we have the restoration back, I then will stain and glaze that restoration to really give a bespoke crown for the patient or veneer for the patient. This is then put in an oven and baked, just like you would do with pottery, to a glaze. And I then would bond it onto the patient's tooth in a very careful way to make sure that the veneer or crown will chemically adhere to the underlying tooth structure. The fit of them are exquisite. They fit perfectly, around about between 20 and 40 micron fit, which is incredibly accurate. This gives a very, very strong end restoration. With a smile and a day, it's a phenomenal service to be able to provide for people. Okay, so here we go. I hope you've already seen the colour, but this is the...
Oh my...
Isn't that amazing?
That's incredible.
It looks like this is your teeth.
It looks like I was born with them.
Shapes come out real well. I think the symmetry is great.
Thank you so much.
It looks lovely.
Thank you.
It's lovely.
I'm so happy with it.
I'm pleased. So am I. So you wanted that for how long?
About 4 years. I've been waiting to get this done.
4 years.
A long time. It's worth the wait.
That's great. I mean, they should last you with the sort of bite that you got 15, 20 years, something like that. Maybe longer.
Well, I'll be coming back.
That's great.
Definitely.
You can eat whatever you like now. They're fully set.
Really?
So you can go and enjoy yourself, have apples and salads and all that sort of stuff. If a patient I feel may need to get used to their new smile prior to having it done, we may well temporize them for a few days. So put some beautiful looking temporary veneers on to allow them to see the results I'm trying to achieve before we actually make the final product. And then maybe a few days later they come back, make sure that they're happy, and then we make the veneers again within that day. So it might be staged here. So 3 or 4 days later we may make the veneers, but often we actually make them on the same day. So my tips for veneers, for how you choose a dentist to give you veneers. One, I would say, is obviously carefully research the dentist you're thinking about treating you. It's important that you have a dentist who is correctly trained. Secondly, many dentists try and do veneers, but actually the critical thing is how artistic somebody is. In dentistry, it's a very academic course, but as with everything, the ability for someone to be artistic is within them and often can't be taught. So you need to have a dentist who is able to create the correct curve, the correct surface texture, the correct angles on a tooth, and this is actually quite a difficult thing, and either a dentist has it or hasn't got it. The best way to check a specific dentist is to look at their website, maybe look at some before and after pictures of their work and see whether that's the sort of thing that you're looking for. Thirdly, if you're thinking about getting married, please come along and see me, preferably a year before your wedding, because sometimes I will want to move those teeth into the right position before I veneer, because veneering teeth which are crowded or crooked will mean I'll have to cut a lot of tooth structure away, and this can permanently damage your tooth in a dramatic way. Maybe we need to do some Invisalign on you first of all, move your teeth into a good position first of all, And then after that we can do minimal veneer preparation, taking a very small tooth away, maybe sometimes none at all, to give you a beautiful smile without doing any unnecessary damage to your tooth.
That's all we have time for today, but join us next week for more top tips on looking and feeling amazing.